At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. I had to turn on my microphone there for a second. That's why we had a bit of a delay. But look at the activity out there right now. We're not looking at a lot of showers, but this is going from the last 12 hours. Some of you live in the South Reading area around the city of Shasta Lake. To the south of that, between Reading and Red Bluff, say Anderson, Cottonwood. Boy, what a storm system that passed on through. Heavy rainfall, gusty winds, some hail. Plenty of lightning as well. That has since then moved on out, but boy, it was strong enough that the National Weather Service at some point issue what's called a special weather statement. Typically what that is that, it's just giving the general public an idea and a heads up that, it's a pretty strong thunderstorm. It's not in the severe category, but you're going to be dealing with rumbles of thunder, lightning, heavy rainfall, and of course there was some accumulating hail that we saw associated with that as well. So definitely an interesting night to say the least for those of you that experienced it. But now things have quieted down significantly. Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger. Thank you so much for joining us out this morning. You are watching Coffee with Krueger. It starts every weekday morning at 7 a.m. However, I am thinking about bumping that time up either somewhere between 6 a.m. or 6:30 in the morning, kind of when I originally started. I just think there might be more opportunities for people to watch in those earlier morning hours. I know that some of you probably like that 7 o'clock hour. It might be a little too early for you sometimes, but it's just one of those things you got to give and take. You got to kind of go to where the higher general population is going and then kind of go from there. But it is Thursday morning, and we are getting ready for some more wet weather for parts of Northern California. So what do you say we take a look at, again, the radar one more time? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up in here. This is a kind of a different radar that we're going to be looking at here. So what we're looking at here is the radar from yesterday evening. I'm going to advance through time. So you can see that by around, so it did kind of move through the city of Shasta Lake area just shortly before 8 o'clock last night. So now what we're looking at here is it kind of progressed through time, started to shift eastward, Palo Cedro. So it did move through even North Reading, looks like kind of got some of that, kind of broke apart by the time it got about, so the heavier rainfall was in North Reading and South Reading, and of course around the city of Shasta Lake. Then by about 8:30 or so last night, that turned into a bit of a line. Now, when these lines develop, this is pretty typical for us here in Northern California, at least Shasta County. It's known as what's called a convergence line. This is something that's been studied. It's been case reviewed, study reviewed, and what's the word I'm looking for, the phrase that I'm looking for. But it's a study that has been reviewed by meteorologists across the nation. And essentially what happens is this. I'm going to go ahead and put on the telestrator. And so you have the line of thunderstorms. Now what happens is this. You get these strong winds that we saw coming in from the south, southeast. And they were all kind of coming from this direction. Now what happens is you've got the foothills right here. So now the foothills and the mountains are right here, so typically they would start here, which is where they did start. In fact, let's take you back in time where they did start. See where they started? Right at that convergence line that I was talking about. Then a lot of times what happens is it starts to kind of move and shift eastward, southeastward. Sometimes these lines can develop where you see them now, a little bit more to the north, a little bit more to the south, even south of Anderson, even close to Red Bluff sometimes. We've seen these convergence lines make their way there as well. But then as we kind of progress through time, so again, you get those strong winds that we did see, which gusts over 40, even 50 miles per hour. Those strong winds, then of course, started to kind of die down a little bit, but we started to see that line, and this is when we started to see that special weather statement I was talking about. That the Weather Service puts out. And of course, this is when we were seeing hail accumulating, heavy rainfall, and of course, frequent lightning. In fact, let's take a look at how many lightning strikes we did see during this time frame. You can kind of see here. I mean, it wasn't a ton. I mean, we've certainly seen more than that. So it was less than 10 and usually in a half-hour period. But you get the idea. There were certainly some lightning strikes out there. And then, of course, by the time we got into about 10 o'clock at night, a lot of the activity started to kind of push back up to the northeast, and then it started to dry out. And now we're really just not looking at much in the way of rain at this point. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get you to Krueger's Quickcast here. For those of you that just want to get out the door this morning, and what to expect here as you get out this Thursday morning, March 13th. You're heading out the door. There may be a few showers out there. I don't expect there to be a lot of rain or snow this morning, but there will be some snow flurries, and there are plentiful chain requirements, especially east of I-5 and on Highway 36 West, which we'll take a closer look at that here in just a second. Significantly colder this morning, especially in the mountains. This is what's supporting the lower snow levels I've been talking about. Upper 20s, low 30s for many of you in the higher elevations. Look at Weaverville. Look at Hayfork. I'd love to get some reports from you in the Trinity County area. Are you and have you seen any snow out of this system? Now, again, we're not looking at a lot of rain and snow out there right now, but that may be changing here later on today. And right now we're in the mid-40s for most of us in the valley. So that stream of moisture that was over us yesterday, that has now shifted southward into Southern California. But we do still have some cold and unstable air that's moved on in. That's why it's going to be noticeably colder today. That colder air is going to tap into the moisture that's already in place, and we're going to be squeezing out more showers, maybe some more thunderstorms, and really anywhere. You can see some thunderstorms here, especially in the afternoon. They're going to be more of what we call convective thunderstorms. And then, of course, looking at snow in the higher elevations. But it's going to be scattered. It's going to be isolated. It's not going to be widespread. It's not going to be terribly heavy. Today is kind of just the off and on showers, off and on snow in the mountains, off and on showers for the valley, maybe a thunderstorm or two as well. There is a wind advisory through the day on Friday for central Siskiyou County and southern Humboldt County for tonight through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right, so let's take a look at those winds. What does it look like out there? Well, of course, those winds not that bad today. They'll pick up a little bit here for the valley this afternoon, coming in from the northwest. So any thunderstorms we do see will not be the same type of thunderstorms we saw yesterday. And we were talking about that convergence line. You got to have the south wind in order for that convergence line to develop. However, we could still see some afternoon convective showers and thunderstorms develop here later on this evening. Now, we take a look at the winds by tomorrow morning. Yeah, now they're really starting to pick up for places like Eureka, Crescent City, and of course along the coast. Even some gusty winds tomorrow morning for the valley, but some very strong winds in central Siskiyou County around Shasta Valley, that is. So there you can see the chance for thunderstorms pretty much for all of Northern California. I think the best chances, though, will be foothills, valley, and along the coast. Let's take a look at Futurecast. Now, I want to show you something here, and we're going to take a look at this here. But Futurecast here, you can see as we go through the morning, we could see kind of a line push through the valley later this morning. But there's the chance for thunderstorms developing here for parts of the valley later on this afternoon, and some snow flurries in the higher elevations. But notice, it's not very widespread. Most of you won't see a lot of rainfall. But if you get caught under a thunderstorm, should they develop, then yeah, you're talking about brief periods of moderate to heavy rainfall, gusty winds, maybe some hail. And some colder air aloft. It's not going to take much to get hail out of these thunderstorms. Then you can see as we go into Thursday afternoon, this afternoon, you can see some snow flurries off to the east. Now I'm going to stop it at 10 o'clock tonight, because right around 10 o'clock tonight, this is happening. I'm going to show you right here. Let's see if you can kind of look closely. It's called the penumbral. This is when the lunar eclipse is going to start. This is going to be a full lunar eclipse tonight, by the way. Now, the maximum eclipse is right here. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. This will be just shortly before midnight, and that's going to be March 14th, and it will be at 11:58 this tonight. And it's saying visible in Redding? Yes, visible if there aren't any clouds. Then it will start to, as we get past midnight, and then it will end by 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, but it starts shortly before 9 o'clock this morning with the peak right around midnight. So there's kind of that 3-hour time frame from when it starts to the max, and then another 3-hour time frame after that to where it ends. So with that in mind, with those time frames in mind, here's 10 o'clock. This is when it starts. Hey, you know what? If we're lucky, there might be enough breaks in the clouds where we might actually be able to see the lunar eclipse. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, so let's advance it through time. Here's midnight. Here's the max eclipse. This is when it's going to be full, kind of that full max eclipse of the moon. Now, You can see we're still seeing some cloud cover. Looks like to the north and east, the best chances, say eastern Siskiyou, parts of Modoc County, parts of Lassen County. But none of this is guaranteed. Even if you get those mid-level clouds in there, it's going to be game over. But there might be at times through the late night and early morning hours where we see a bit of a break. We'll see. Check this out. We do have a winter storm warning, winter storm watch, winter weather advisory. Now, a lot of times, you'll see people kind of report, oh, this is until this time, and this is until this time, and this is listen, here's the thing. One thing about winter storm warnings, watches, and winter weather advisories, they're constantly changing. I mean, literally within hours of each other. Sometimes it's like a warning, then it gets extended to a bit longer, or it expires sooner than normal, or whatever. So for me to talk about that, it's pointless. This is the bottom line. There's snow in the forecast. National Weather Service is on top of it. They are basically just giving everyone a heads up that most of Northern California is going to see snow because we've got low elevation snow. Even the valley. What? Yeah, we'll talk about that here a little bit later. But look at the ski park. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. A foot of snow out at the ski park. For those of you that like fresh pow, as they call it, boy, you've got that for today. But do note that you may run into some chain requirements on Highway 89. There are chain requirements there now. Wet roads, although last check, it's not wet anymore. It was in the form of snow. Let's take a look at what we can expect to see here with more snow on top of the foot we've already seen. Over 2 feet of snow is expected through Saturday afternoon. So the chain requirements we have are mainly east of I-5. That one that you see on I-5 near Mount Shasta, that's actually not on I-5. That always looks like it is, but it's on Highway 89. Highway 36 West, a lot of chain requirements there, and lots of chain requirements east of I-5. But look at Highway 299 West, Buckhorn Summit, Oregon Mountain, Berry Summit. No chain requirements there. Okay, so just be aware that you may run into some snow. All right, so here's what it looks like. I-5, there was snow earlier on the roads. Now it's kind of getting a little bit slushy again, and Caltrans has probably done a pretty good job clearing that off. There's Snowman Summit, where we do have chain requirements there. So again, you're heading out to the ski park. Not only Snowman Summit are you seeing snow, but most likely on the Mount Shasta Ski Park Highway, right between 89 and the ski park. It'll probably be plenty of snow and ice on that road. So chains. Pack your chains if you don't have four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, the works, okay? Let's take a look at Grass Lake, Mount Hebron. There you can see, of course, we're seeing some snow there on Highway 97. We take a look at Highway 199. We're seeing some snowflakes there. Not a ton of snow on the road, though. And that's why we're not really seeing the chain requirements there. Buckhorn Summit, but look at Berry Summit. You see that? Snow. Snow looks like even on the roadway there. That's at 2,600 feet. So this is an indication of how low these snow levels have certainly gotten here overnight tonight and early this morning. Hatchet Mountain, no surprises there. There you can see Cedar Pass on Highway 299 East. We take a look at Highway 44. Shingletown, wet roads, but not snow. Lassen Park entrance there at the north entrance. Plenty of snow. Beauregard Ranger Station, kind of hard to see the road there. Here's a look at Highway 36 at 89. This is near Chester in the left part of your screen there. This is an indication of the snow that Chester saw last night. Johnson Grade on Highway 36. And they're also looking at Fredonia Summit. Okay. Let's take a look at Highway 36. Kind of take a look at some areas near Susanville. Yeah, I mean, still a lot. Look at even in Susanville, southeast Susanville. You are seeing snow on the highways there. So what do the road conditions look like for the rest of the day today? Well, they look to improve. That being said, there's still going to be snow flurries throughout the day today. And so when you're looking at off and on snow showers in the mountains, you have improving conditions, then snow, then it stops snowing, then snow. So conditions can change rapidly. Pack your chains, make sure you know what the latest road conditions are. But just be aware that anywhere you go in the mountains, you may run into some of that snow. Now, you can see as we go into tonight, tomorrow morning, we've got another round of rain and another round of snow. And this is going to be a colder storm system. So I do expect even lower snow levels and more headaches on the mountain highways. I-5 tomorrow morning, most likely chain requirements. Maybe even a closure, depending on how heavy it gets. Highway 299 West, Buckhorn, Berry Summit, Oregon Mountain. Yes, I think you're going to see chain requirements late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and east of I-5. Obviously, that's where we have a lot of those higher mountain passes. So let's get you through the day. Today, temperatures are going to be in the mid-50s. Could see some thunderstorms, otherwise scattered showers. Not as active today as it was yesterday. I'm not expecting nearly as much rainfall or nearly as much snow as we saw for some of the higher elevations. But still, that potential for snow flurries and snow showers throughout the day in the mountains, and some scattered showers in the valley with the potential for thunderstorms, and maybe some thunderstorms for the coast as well. Another cold night, low snow levels, teens and 20s to the north and east, mid to upper 20s in Trinity County, mid 30s for the inland areas. We could see some snow there, places like Hoopa, Willow Creek. That's not out of the question. Orleans, right? Temperatures mid to upper 30s for the coast. It's going to be cold. Even the valley, look at that, Redding 35, and take note of that overnight temperature, because we're going to be talking about the potential for snow possibly for parts of the Redding area, maybe far south of Anderson. That mix. Now, I've got the mix in there for Red Bluff. Honestly, that's hard pressed. I think the farther south you get from Redding, the smaller the chance you have of even seeing a mix. I don't expect any accumulating snow in Redding, but Mother Nature always has a way of surprising us. But for now, it looks like it's just going to be a mix off and on through Monday, and then a bit of a break on Tuesday. There you can see the coast, inland, and for Trinity County. Yeah. Of course, there's that break on Tuesday, more wet weather come Wednesday. And taking a look at Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and the eastern mountains, off and on snow showers. That's the word I was looking for. And then, of course, drying out for Tuesday with more wet weather on Wednesday. Taking a look at some of the cameras out there this morning. There you can see Lake Oroville. It doesn't look too terribly wet over there. Just kind of the overcast skies. Some breaks in the clouds, though. The winds are still blowing, it looks like a little bit. Taking a look at Highway 32, Main Street, Chico. Looks like the roads are dry after some wet weather out there yesterday. Highway 99 at Neal Road. Yeah, looks like traffic has flown pretty well there. And Highway 44, Sundial Bridge Drive. That's what it was, Highway 44. Overcast skies this morning, but really not seeing much in the way of rain at the current hour. Well, today is Thursday. We've got our NorCal Ag Report. I want to thank Lassen County Nursery, Kenny Elwood from Lassen County Nursery, for his report. Now, a couple of weeks ago, for his support, that is, sponsorship from Lassen County Nursery. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I went to a local farm in Palisadro, and we talked about getting baby chicks and how they've got baby chicks there. Well, Jerry O'Lennon went to a farm in Butte County that also sells baby chicks. So as we get kind of inching closer and closer to Easter, people are starting to think about that. And also as those egg sales, right, they're expensive, although they have gone down, but they're expected to go back up come Easter time because of the demand, right? That's always the case. But people are wanting to do their own eggs. So here's how you can do that. There's a place in the Butte County where you can buy baby chicks. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Jerry O'Lennon at Northern Star Mills in Chico, and this is the Ag Report sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. Today I am with David Jesperson. He is the owner of Northern Star Mills, and you have been very busy selling chicks. Explain what's going on here. I know that I was here last week and there was a line out the door to buy chicks.
It's just the egg prices and shortages are getting the idea in people's heads. I think most of our customers and the people out there looking to start their own little backyard flocks have been thinking about it for a long time, and this is just giving them the opportunity to move forward with it and get things rolling.
Now, a couple of weeks ago you had 75 chicks and they sold out in like 10-15 minutes.
10-15 minutes, yeah.
The chicks cost about how much per chick?
$6 a chick.
And I think a lot of people don't realize it's going to take a little while for the chicks to grow to become hens. How long does that take until they'll start being able to lay an egg?
We're looking at 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
Depending on the breed and conditions and everything.
And how many eggs are hens able to lay in, say, a 1-year time frame?
Really depends on the breed. Most of ours are going to be probably between 200 and 260 eggs per year.
Mm-hmm. But there's more to it than just, a lot of people are doing it, I think, for the financial purposes because they want to make their own eggs because, $9 for at least in the state of California, for a dozen, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, but there's also some just the I guess, the joy of the pastime of raising the hens and raising the chicks and turning them into hens, and just the process. Describe the process and the joy that people have doing it.
Oh, people build a bond just like you would with any pet with their chicks, especially raising them from chickens all the way up to hens, and they all have their own little personalities. I have customers that, bring them in the house with them, that the chickens follow them around the yard, and it's just like any other pet. So it's kind of nice that, you have this little friend, but they also provide for you.
Yeah,
so
it's a pet that produces as well.
Exactly, yeah.
I noticed that I saw a lot of children that were here, and they must really have a great thrill in being able to hold the chicks and being able to pick out the pet themselves.
Oh, they love it. It's amazing. Some kids are a little timid, but we have people that come back, when we are able to keep them in the store, come back on a weekly basis just to look at the chicks, and they'll spend an hour here. The kids love it, and the parents love to see it, so.
And final question is it happens once a week. Every Thursday you have the chicks come in, and you open up at what time?
We open up at 8:30, and supposedly they're supposed to be here every Thursday. And we have our list of what we're expecting every week all the way through September posted on our website. So a lot of people will plan ahead. They'll figure out what breeds they want, and then they will schedule a week to come in and hopefully get the ones that they're looking for.
David, thank you for your time and continued success selling the chicks.
All right. Thank you for coming in.
And there's your Ag Report. I'm Jerry O'Lennon for Weather NorCal.
Once again, I want to thank Lassen County Nursery, of course, Kenny Elwood from Lassen County Nursery for his sponsorship of NorCal Ag Report. Without his support, the Ag Report would not exist. So for those of you that enjoy it, be sure to give him a shout out and a thank you, because we certainly appreciate any sponsor that comes on board to help support what we do here at Weather NorCal. Not just the weather, but sometimes even some of the fun community events that we like to support as well. So of course, you've got the Ag Report, you've got Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals, which by the way, there's an open sponsorship slot for that if you know of a business that might be interested in sponsoring that, as well as Pet of the Week that we typically do as well. Sometimes, we have a hard time getting out to some of those Pet of the Weeks, but for the most part, we do that once a week as well. So there you have it. We are getting some reports from some of you coming on in here this morning. One of the questions, and tell you what, before we start addressing these questions, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the deeper dive forecast so we can really kind of get into it. I know we kind of went over the forecast, but we're going to go into the deeper dive, and this will allow us to kind of go beyond what we're seeing here for today and go into the next couple of days. There certainly is, a lot that's going to be happening here over the next 24 or 48 hours. So let's get you right into it. But first, we need to go into our sponsor of Coffee with Krueger. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. So looking at the current conditions out there right now, and we're going to start with the radar. Of course, I talked a little bit earlier about that convergence line that we did see yesterday. That, of course, is not going to be the case here today with any thunderstorms that do develop, because you need a strong south wind in order for that to develop. The winds today will be from the west and coming in from the northwest. But when we look at this loop here, you can see that brief period is about a little over an hour. We saw the thunderstorms around the Reading area, south of Reading, even north of Reading. And then, of course, it moved on out of here. There was heavy rainfall, gusty winds, hail, the works, right? So that has moved on out, and we're just looking at some scattered snow flurries and some scattered showers right now along the coast. Now, temperatures right now, it's cold in the mountains. I mean, you're talking 20s, 30s. This is supporting the lower snow levels. Low to mid 40s in the valley, and looks like in the along the coast there in the upper 30s to around 40. So taking a look at our headlines, we've got off and on rain and snow through early next week. I do expect low snow levels at times. I think on average between 2,000 and 3,000 feet, but will be lower than that at times and even higher than that at times. They fluctuate through each storm system that passes, but that is going to create travel delays, right? When we're talking chain requirements, the works, even on I-5, even on Highway 299 West around Buckhorn Summit, Oregon Mountain, that will be the case over the next 24 hours. Off and on gusty winds. We saw them yesterday, over 40, even 50 miles per hour, even for parts of the valley. Those winds have died down this morning, but I do expect more winds to develop, especially later tonight and into tomorrow. And then a short break from all of this on Tuesday of next week, but then there's more coming in behind that. So here's the overall setup. What we have right now and what we saw yesterday is this. This was over us yesterday. That was a bit of an atmospheric river, and that's why we saw some good rainfall out of it. Warm subtropical moisture was in place, and that's why we saw high snow levels. But here's what's happened. This main flow has shifted to the south, so Southern California is getting the bulk of it. But what's happened is we've got some cold and unstable air that's moving in. You see the speckled clouds? That's the colder air. So as that colder air moves in, we have a bit of a spin. You see right here, there's a bit of a spin in the atmosphere. That's also helping to destabilize the atmosphere. It's tapping into this warm subtropical moisture up here. And as a result, we'll see scattered showers, maybe some thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon, and snow showers in the higher elevations. I just don't think it's going to be nearly as active as it was yesterday. So as we go into the noon hour and afternoon, yeah, there's that potential for afternoon showers and thunderstorms here developing here, especially in the east side of the valley. Now again, I don't think it's going to be the same type of thunderstorms that we saw yesterday because we have to have those strong south winds for those convergence lines to develop. The winds for this afternoon and evening will be more from the west and northwest. Those don't help to support that development of those convergence lines. But there you can see we do have the snow in the higher elevations. This is kind of off and on snow around 2,000 to 3,000 feet. But then by 6 p.m. today, look at that. We're actually clearing things out. We may dry things out, some snow off to the east, but not a lot off to the west. Then you can see by 10 o'clock tonight when the lunar eclipse begins, you see some of the clouds, or we may see some breaks in the clouds. You may be able to, through at times during the eclipse, some of you may be able to see part of that eclipse. But then as we get closer to midnight into early tomorrow morning, those clouds will be on the increase. And look at this, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, I've got snow levels between 1 and 2,000 feet. At times, it could get lower than 1,000 feet. In fact, there's that mix that we could possibly see around the Redding area. Still at this point, I'm not anticipating accumulating snow in Redding, but just be aware that, yeah, you may wake up tomorrow morning with a bit of a mix out towards the Redding area, maybe Anderson, maybe Cottonwood. Getting closer to Red Bluff, that may be a little bit more difficult. And by the way, out towards Paradise, you might see some snow, maybe even some light accumulating snow for Friday morning. In the meantime, you're starting to see that snow in the higher elevations. 1,000, 2,000 feet. Hayfork, Weaverville, Mount Shasta, Bernie, Shingletown, all seeing that snow through the morning hours. Now look at this. As we go through the morning hours, there's 8 a.m. We're still seeing the heavy rain. Look at this. Is that a mix that's near the Red Bluff area and also towards the Redding area? So again, we can't rule out places like Red Bluff through the morning hours on Friday to potentially even see a bit of a mix. There's, again, more snow, and it's coming down. We get in the darker shades of blue. That's the heavier snow for tomorrow morning. By 10 a.m., we're still seeing that mix pretty close to the Redding area. We're still seeing that mix and snow around Paradise as well. That's 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So this is some cold air that's moving in, and this is the heavier snow that we're still seeing in the higher elevations. Now by midday, that snow line should start to shift a little bit to the north, but now we're seeing the potential for maybe an isolated thunderstorm for Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. You can see how it's beginning to break up as well. So when we look at Saturday, Saturday we'll probably actually see a bit of a break. Saturday morning, 8 a.m., mostly cloudy skies, but mainly dry. And then really for the first half of the day, for the valley eastward, you'll be dry, but by late morning, we start to see more rain and snow making its way back to the north and west of the valley. And then by the afternoon, especially the north end of the valley, Redding, some showers. But Chico, there's a chance you may make it through the day on Saturday without even seeing a drop of rain. But there's that snow. I think snow levels will be a bit higher with this system on Saturday, probably somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 feet. Now, looking at today, there is that potential for thunderstorms for pretty much all of Northern California. I would say that the best chances will be in the valley, the foothills, out towards the coast as well. Otherwise, it's going to be those snow showers for the rest of us in the higher elevations. And the thunderstorm outlook for tomorrow, there aren't any thunderstorms here for tomorrow. Let's take a look at the forecast rainfall totals through Saturday afternoon. Watch what happens. You can see we're not going to see a lot of rainfall coming out of this here as we go into today. Most of what we're seeing here is going to be from tonight and early tomorrow morning. So I think some of us could even see over an inch, honestly, here as we go, especially up towards the Redding area, maybe even Chico. But basically about a half an inch to an inch for the valley, maybe a little bit more than that for the coast, and obviously much less off to the north and east, as we typically see. Now, these are my forecast snow totals. I've taken a look at different forecast models and different projections, and here's my overall thoughts. All right, so number one, I'm going to point out the sore thumb here, right? That's the Reading area. We could see that mix. Is there the potential that if it gets heavy enough, we could be looking at it in the form of all snow and maybe some minor accumulation? Sure, not out of the question. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to be snowmageddon. You're not going to be running into issues as far as, snow on the roads, but maybe some light minor accumulation for a brief period of time on some of the grassy areas, especially for North Reading. City of Shasta Lake, for example, Lakehead, 1 to 3 inches. Now, what you see there from Mount Shasta City, 6 to 10 inches of snow, that is mostly going to fall early tomorrow morning, late tonight and early tomorrow morning. That's when the bulk of that snow is going to fall into the early morning hours. What you see today is not going to be much, really, for anyone. And so for all of these totals that you see here, most of them are going to be accumulating from tonight and into tomorrow. That's the bottom line there. But I mean, Chester, you could see possibly over a foot of snow. Now, you have all kinds of watches, warnings, advisories, snow, right? This map, I can guarantee when I show you this at noon, or if I show you at noon, because I typically don't, it'll change because the time frames are going to change. The forecast models may have changed a little bit here, and that's kind of the end of the story there. But there you can see Highway 36 West, east of I-5, chain requirements. That is not on I-5, by the way, but we have seen some snow this morning on I-5 near Mount Shasta, and that will probably continue to be an issue here through the morning. So as we go into the midday today and into the afternoon, conditions should improve. Now, with that all being said, often on snow showers in the higher elevations, that could cause conditions to change rapidly no matter where you are, even say on Highway 299 West or 36 West or even on I-5. So just be aware of that, but overall, the conditions should improve. I still expect chain controls here for many areas east of I-5 through the day today. But by tonight, tomorrow, this is what I was talking about, the heavier rain, the heavier snow moving in. I-5, I think around Weed, Mount Shasta, even Wairika, I think you see chain requirements. Not out of the question for a closure, depending on how heavy it gets. Highway 299 West, what's interesting, it's not showing much, but I do expect Buckhorn Summit, Oregon Mountain Berry Summit to possibly see some snow there. Highway 36 West, and as usual, lots of chain requirements east of I-5 for tonight and tomorrow morning. Okay, here's a look at the long range. And you can see on Sunday, we're seeing this flow of moisture around 2 p.m., mainly along the coast, some scattered showers. By Sunday evening, Sunday night, heavier rainfall pushing through, some snow in the mountains, and then Monday, still some scattered showers and snow flurries in the mountains. By Tuesday, high pressure right here begins to settle in, and we get a break. But over here, off to our west, this will quickly move in our direction and will be here by probably the second half of the day on Wednesday. Everyone's seen that chance for showers and snow in the higher elevations, and behind that is the next system that will impact us possibly by next Thursday. Now, this is the long-range forecast model. Take these numbers with a grain of salt, but quite honestly, I think they're doing a pretty good job through Monday. This is through Tuesday, 10 p.m., but mainly the rain will end by Monday night. And you can still see that we're seeing upwards of over an inch in some spots here for the valley from now through Monday night, and much more along the coast. That might be overdoing it for Crescent City, but still some good rainfall coming up there and much less off to the north and east. Now we take a look at the lake levels. They're still very healthy, mainly trickling upward. However, we are seeing and have seen over the last several weeks a very slight trickle downward for Trinity Lake, but the historical average over 100%, the capacity still over 80%, all looking very healthy and looking great. Hey, we're talking about all the rain, the snow. We do have, look at this, central United States is under either a red flag warning or a fire weather watch. Gusty winds, low humidity, they've got high fire danger in these areas. This is a friendly reminder that for us, the fire season is just around the corner. And a lot of times you hear this. Whenever we have a good, healthy rain season, that means spring, things begin to grow. And then in the summer, those things that have grown very healthily, is that a word? No. But those things that have grown through spring will then dry out in the summer. And then we have plenty of fuels, and that tends to be a later in the season, fire season. However, that being said, now's the time to start thinking about clearing out brush, how you're going to do that, making sure you've got defensible space, the works. It's very important, especially if you have a lot of property, that you start thinking about that here, if you haven't done so already. Wind advisory for tomorrow for central Siskiyou County and for tonight into early tomorrow morning for southern Humboldt County. So we look at the winds. Remember I was talking about earlier in the headlines, off and on winds. Well, we have the off winds right now. They'll pick up this afternoon, and they'll pick up even more so tonight with gusts easily over 40, maybe 50 miles per hour for the coast. Same situation for central Siskiyou County. Winds picking up even tomorrow morning for the valley. As we go to midday, gusty winds pretty much across the board. The wind should start to die down by Friday afternoon, and then Saturday morning, looks like the winds are dying down, but maybe the wind's kind of picking up again. Breezy, borderline windy for Saturday afternoon. Off and on winds, right? Temperature outlook, boy, oh boy, wouldn't it be nice to start seeing some of these colors over us? But no, the cooler than normal conditions are still in the long range. I mean, each and every single day we keep tacking on one more day each day, and we're still below normal over the next 10 days for most, if not all of Northern California. Now, looking at the wave heights for today, they're still fairly high. There actually is a small craft advisory this afternoon. Wave heights will increase even more, most likely looking at a gale watch or a gale warning as we go into the next 24 hours. Southwest winds at 5 to 10 knots. There's your waves, there's your high and your low tide, and there's that small craft advisory here for this afternoon. All right, so for today, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. There's the break on Tuesday. And really, across the board, when you look at these 7-day forecasts, everyone will be dry on Tuesday, but then more wet weather coming in on Wednesday. Taking you to the south, 37 degrees for Forest Glen, 39 degrees in Ruth, and 38 degrees in Wildwood. We take you off towards southern Humboldt County. Chance for showers, maybe some thunderstorms later on this afternoon. Up to the north, out towards Ferndale, Fortuna, Hydesville, basically upper 40s to about 50. A bit cooler in Rio Dell with about 46 degrees for that daytime high. Let's take you up to the north. You can see Arcata about 49, 50 in Eureka. Temperatures upper 40s. For Hoopa and Willow Creek this afternoon. 42 degrees in Gas Key, Orleans about 46, and looks like Oric about 48 degrees. Taking a look at Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. There you can see Syed Valley, Horse Creek, basically mid to upper 40s there. I-5 corridor basically in the low to even some mid 40s. Scott Valley, low 40s there, although it looks like a little bit cooler out in Callahan with about 39 degrees. Drier conditions by Tuesday before more wet weather comes in by next Wednesday. 38 today in Weed, 41 for Mount Shasta City. That's also the case for McLeod. Here's your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. We've got those temperatures mainly in the mid to upper 30s for your daytime highs. Snow levels on average between 2,500 and 3,500 feet. That's going to be the case also for Bernie. I think Bernie, you could see some snow showers off and on today, maybe more snow on Friday. As you start getting closer to that 3,000 foot range, that's when you start seeing maybe a mix, maybe even all snow at times. Tuesday, that break, and then more coming into your Wednesday of next week. Lake Amanor and Lassen Park, we've got temperatures in the mid to upper 30s around the lake and mainly in the 20s out towards Lassen Park. And down to the south, Paradise, you can see an isolated shower or thunderstorm. I've got Paradise, maybe some snow on Friday, especially in the morning. And then it looks like off and on showers through Monday with that break on Tuesday. Your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. Your temperatures in the mid to upper 50s here for today. Windy conditions eventually developing again here for tonight and into tomorrow. And maybe some afternoon thunderstorms here for today. More rain, heavier, especially by tomorrow morning, and then turning over to scattered showers Friday afternoon. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, continue that chance for showers. Dry Tuesday. And yes, looks like some more wet weather by next Wednesday. It's that miracle March many of you are hoping for. There you go, right? 49 degrees for Whiskeytown. Not everyone's going to see thunderstorms. This is just indicating that that chance is certainly going to be out there. Most of you will not see thunderstorms, but there may be an off chance in some areas that could see that this afternoon. I've got that mix in there for Redding, especially in the morning hours, and then by the afternoon turning over to scattered showers. Scattered showers continue into Monday of next week, and then by Tuesday we dry things out, and then Wednesday of next week we've got about 59 degrees for that daytime high, and of course, a chance for more of those scattered showers. So that's a look at your forecast. And, you know, it's still a lot of activity going on out there. But let's take a look at some of you have to say here for this morning here. Now, one of the questions I was going to address, and we'll kind of go into full screen here. Someone had mentioned, here we go. This is a question. This is something that's been on a lot of people's radars, and I've been noticing on social media, people have been making posts about the accuracy of forecast now that there have been cuts with the NOAA, or National Weather Service, across the nation. And so a question here is from Lori. Hi, Mike. With so many people being illegally let go from NOAA, will that have any impact on your ability to forecast the weather? There will be an impact if it continues to move forward as possible, as expected, or as it is right now. Here's what I'm going to say about what's going on with the National Weather Service and the cuts. I haven't really put in my 2 cents up until about now. You may have been hearing about it, other meteorologists kind of talking about it. I decided I had to keep quiet about it. It's political. I don't like to get into politics, right? Politics aside, the reality of the story is that people are being let go from the National Weather Service. That is key to what can happen to our forecasts across the nation. Now, we talk about how we generate our own forecasts, and I do. I look at all the different forecasts, but the thing is, we all look at the same forecast models. And here's the thing, we're talking about the forecast models. You know, you heard about the weather balloons, those radiosondes as they're called. The National Weather Service, all the offices for the most part, they send up 2 weather balloons a day, one in the morning and one in the evening. That goes up into the atmosphere. It basically records all of the data, temperature, humidity, winds, the works. That data is then sent to that National Weather Service office. That data is then plugged into the forecast models, including the European forecast model, which is not generated by America, but the European forecasts use that data, okay? So if we start eliminating some of those weather balloon data, then we have the potential for our forecast models being compromised. They're basically complex mathematical equations. If you start taking information away from those mathematical equations, you're not going to get the same results you would if you already, the results won't be as accurate. So, yeah, it is going to, if it continues to move forward as it is, and if we start seeing more and more, I've heard of, and I can't remember exactly which ones, but I know that there was a Weather Service office in Alaska that announced they were not going to be able to, because of staff cuts, they were not able to send up weather balloon data. That's important. And from what I understand, there are other Weather Service offices across the nation that have followed suit. Now again, understanding what that means, yes, it will have an impact, most likely, on the forecast model data. So our forecast, as a result, may be impacted by that, and they may not be as accurate. But, you know, we do with what we've got, and that's the bottom line. So, again, I don't know the mindset of the people making these decisions. Unfortunately, these are people that are probably not getting informed. These are probably not informed decisions. They just see it as a way to cut money, and there you go. I think it's more important. I think there have been a lot of hasty decisions being made, and without understanding the impacts it's going to have on the American public and the American community, people are being cut that shouldn't be cut. But what do I know? I'm just a meteorologist here in Redding, California. So again, I'm not going to get political, and I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to say who's doing it, right? All that. I don't want to bring those up because I don't like talking politics. I don't like it at all, especially on this platform here. Because if you want to talk politics, you can go to other places, but I don't want to create that tension between people. I don't want it. I don't want people debating on it. I will quickly put an end to any kind of debates about politics. End of story. But back to the National Weather Service. Yes, it is going to have an impact if it continues on the path that it is. We need to make sure that they can send up the weather data. And again, keep in mind, they are an important source of information, life-saving information, right? The watches and warnings that we see, those all come from the National Weather Service. You know, so if they stop issuing those, then it's going to be up to us, and it's going to be all over the place. See, it's important for us to work together with the National Weather Service to help give you the weather forecast. And those watches and warnings are a great way to help communicate what's going on. So we need that. You look at the thunderstorm outlook, the map with all the green on it. I'll show you that. I'll show you which one that is. That's coming from, and let's see if I can find it. There it is. That one is coming from the National Weather Service as well. A different branch called the Storm Prediction Center, but it's all under the same umbrella. And they, twice a day, take a look at the amount of instability and the chances for thunderstorms across the nation. So what you're seeing here is something that was issued by the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. And if we start making cuts there, then we're not going to get the advanced warning of things like tornadoes and severe thunderstorms. Now, that doesn't impact us as much as, say, the central and eastern, the places that see the tornadoes, right? But it's just one more thing, right? We've got the Climate Prediction Center, all of those things. So we do have to be mindful of all that. And it is frustrating. But what do you do? All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm done with that. But that was a good question, because I did notice, I think it was last week, I had posted some rainfall numbers. Here's some rainfall estimates. Someone said, are these even accurate now that there have been cuts to the National Weather Service? Good question. And yes, they're still, for the most part, fairly accurate. Let's get some fun reports coming in here from some of you. Tracy. Tracy's saying 3 to 4 inches of snow outside of MacArthur so far. Well, thank you for the report. And let's see here. Looks like we got a dusting of snow in Castle at 3,200 feet. We have got Alana saying, lightning hit my front tree last night. Wow. Well, thank you for the report. I hope the trees, it looks like there's some damage. Did some damage. What a crazy storm last night. It was. I wasn't there experiencing it. So for those of you that were there, I'm sure it was kind of crazy. Good morning. 3 inches of rain in Klamath since the storms. Ooh, yeah. Thank you, Helen, for that. A lot of rain up there. 24 degrees in MacArthur this morning. South Bonneview had quite a show last night. Yeah, around 8:30 with a bit of hail. Of course, that was from the one I was talking about last night. And Lower Springs area had about 0.6 inches of rain yesterday. I want to thank Rob Burnett, for sending in that information. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for us this morning here. We're going to take a look at some cameras. Let's take a look at some cameras. What do we have out there? Let's, you know what? Let's do this. As we kind of start wrapping things up a little bit, we're going to take a look at the road conditions, and nothing has changed since I reported earlier. But looking at some of the cameras out there, maybe you're heading up north on I-5. Looks like I-5 near Mount Shasta, once again, just the wet roads. That certainly is some good news, but Snowman Summit still looks like it's got snow coming down in that area. Grass Lake on Highway 97. Boy, oh boy, that still looks like we've got a lot of snow up there. And taking a look at Highway 199. Yeah, look at that, Collier Tunnel. Looks like we've got some snow there, but much better as you start heading north towards the Oregon state line. Buckhorn Summit looks okay. There was some snow on the center divide there on Berry Summit, or the center line. That has since then been cleared out, so it looks like conditions are improving there as we speak. But there were no chain requirements as far as I know. Hatchet Mountain looks pretty slushy, as well as Cedar Pass looking pretty slushy as well, but Four Corners looks pretty good. Look at Lassen Park, you can barely see the road there. Also, Beauregard Ranger Station looks like a lot of snow. And wet, but not snowy, in Shingletown proper. Take a look at Chester area. Looks like Caltrans is doing a good job clearing it off there, but still some snow and ice on the road there. Johnson Grade for down your summit. Look at that. Lots of kind of wintry conditions out there, without a doubt. This is Highway 36 at 44. Town Hill on northwest Susanville, and in southeast Susanville, 4,200 feet. You've got snow accumulating on the road there, but it doesn't look like a ton of snow, just kind of that dusting of snow that we're seeing here. We're going to take a look at some of the cameras out there as well. And as we kind of wrap things up here, let's get that one going, and then we'll be good to go. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me this morning, and we are going to take a look at some... That's not what I wanted to do. Oh my goodness, folks. Doing so many things at once, I'm trying to figure out what's going on everywhere. But we'll get it. We'll get it figured out. Let's do it here. There we go. We got the cameras going. And we're going to leave you with that. Have yourselves a great day. And of course, you can always download that latest app. It's right down there. See that? You can even take your phone, do the QR code, or just search for Weather NorCal in your app store and you can get the latest on the storm. Check the radar, check the latest road conditions, check the latest forecast. It's all right there from the free Weather NorCal app. You can also go to weathernorcal.com. You can watch the 24-hour streaming channel on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and of course, you can always watch it on YouTube as well. So thanks again for watching, and we will see you tomorrow morning right here on Coffee with Krueger at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Thank you.